Hello and welcome back to From the BON, the Burnley podcast. This is the rapid reaction to Burnley 0, Arsenal 2. I'm Simon Evans, with me is Woody and Chris Boden. Gents, what can we say about that? Woody, I mean, they're a better team than us. They beat us 2-0. Is there anything else to add to that?
Not really. It does show you the gulf, though, doesn't it? These little scraps against the likes of Sunderland and Leeds aren't quite the same as playing somebody like Arsenal at home. It was like a slow mauling, wasn't it? You just see where the gulf in class actually is and when you're going to actually lay a glove on them. And it wasn't until the last kick of the game, was it, that we finally hit something on target. But saying that, I think we probably played relatively well and to the game plan that we'd set out, rightly or wrongly.
I mean, looking at it now, Chris, you could sort of, if you're taking a positive spin on that, you could sort of say, no harm's done. You're not expected to beat Arsenal, but you haven't come out of it with like a 5-0, 6-0, 7-0 hammering that might dent your confidence. You leave sort of going, well, we nearly got one at the end, and it's a bit of a miserable way to exist in modern football, but that's the reality, isn't it?
It's what it is. So Woody, that's the word, gulf, isn't it? They're like the school bully that sticks their hand on your head while you're windmilling and you can't get anywhere near them, sort of thing. They are. It's the way modern football is, isn't it? They are vastly superior, and that's years of building and building and building to this squad that the elite clubs could basically put two different teams out that could beat you, and they can rotate, they can lose players, rest players, and you can't back in the day, if they lost a couple of key players, it'd probably dent them and give you a sniff. And you used to be able to physically, you could, run further, run harder than them. Physically, you might cause them a problem or two, but they've closed those gaps as well. So not only, they're better technically, they're better footballers than you, but they're physical specimens, and the introduction of 5 subs, they can keep these big bloated squads happy, and it's a futile existence in a way. But you have to admire them. They looked far superior to Liverpool.
Yeah, I think they definitely looked a cut above Liverpool, United. Probably City as well, really. They looked like the team who were in top place, didn't they, Woody? But I thought we set ourselves up quite well for what we were trying to do.
Yeah, and if you're being quite cynical about it, that was a 2-0 damage limitation exercise, wasn't it? But it's like you were looking at the way that we set up, and I agree with you, we set up well with what we had, but it was like, where were we breaking from? Where was the pace? Where were we going to create a chance? Because you've still got to somehow at least attempt some kind of, forward momentum. And it was just like, okay, well, we'll try and keep them at bay. And it, like Chris said, it was one of those, just they were holding us at arm's length, and it was just a matter of time, whether it was something in open play or, as it was, we set piece or whatever. It's not a cliche as to why they're so damn good at that, and it's just a matter of time, isn't it?
I mean, it is annoying that, isn't it, Chris, when Parker's obviously sent them out there with all these complex instructions about space, about when to make the press, what's the trigger, what areas to cover, to narrow them, not let them get space out wide, not let Saka get overly involved, do all these things, which they were doing for the first 10 minutes. They were doing that pretty well. And then you concede a goal from what is basically, the most basic way you could concede there is.
First corner, and so that the set piece masters, the title they've earned over the last couple of years or so, and I say it does take a bit of a nick off Walker, but in the end, it's there's all no marking. It's I say a lot of the commentary. You can go either way, can't you? You can go man for man, and it's a bit of clever movement kills you, or you can go zonal, and you've 3 or 4 of you stood there as it bypasses you, and Jokeres it's really when you're dealing with and the delivery is ridiculously good as well. So we just saying before we came on, where on earth is Declan Rice wasn't renowned for this at West Ham. He's just developed these unbelievable deliveries. I mean, he nearly whip one in the top corner with one corner from the same the same side of the pitch, and they are they're scoring and having so much joy from these set pieces because the delivery's so good. And it's not just us that are falling foul to them. So, but it was the second one that it's a small detail, I suppose, but I didn't see the need necessarily to drag Kyle Walker over to the left hand side to take a. I mean, he's not a long throw expert, is he? He sort of loops a ball up into area, and then all of a sudden, Gabriel, who could have, he wins these, wins that sort of thing blindfold. He's just so reads it so well, so good. And all of a sudden, our pacey right back is on the other side of the park. Eze spreads it wide to the left-hand side, and they've killed us. And it's 2-0. And you're thinking, well, were we really going to hurt him with a little floaty, flappy, long throw from Cat? No, we weren't. So, keep harming there. Play like we did against Leeds. Play a quick, quick short throw in, and just whip one. We scored against Leeds with similar. We've seen Hartman's got the quality. I just, why you need to drag Walker out and it left us exposed.
Yeah, and at 2-0, Woody, and then they take Dukaresh off at half time, and it sort of felt that second half a little bit like they were just preserving energy and going through saying, okay, up to you now whether you want a game or not.
Yeah. And I suppose we kind of said, yeah, okay then. Once we'd made once Edwards had finally come on, and we started to push ourselves a little bit further up the pitch, and we had a little bit more pace and a little bit more trickery up front, then yeah, but like you say, they can afford to do that, can't they? But had we scored around 75th, it might have been an interesting last quarter of an hour, but we still didn't have a lot to show for it, did we?
No, I mean, I suppose, Woody, that's Scott Parker's justification for the cautious tactics is, even at 2-0, if you get one with 15 minutes to go, you've suddenly got a chance of nicking a point. And again, it's quite calculated and cautious, you can say, but you can do like we did under Company, where at this stage in the season we had 4 points, and we had actually 4 points 3 games further down the line after 13 games as well, and we were getting beaten 5 and 6 by these teams. So, I mean, what do we want?
No, that's exactly right. I mean, had we executed properly today, as in not allowed that kind of header that was bad defending for the first goal and whatnot, had we kept it to 0-0 by then, because they hadn't really torn us apart, then it would have been a different game plan and maybe a slightly different outlook. But that's not how it happened, is it?
I mean, these are a test for managers, aren't they, Chris? I mean, we look at it and, we know what it means for us. It doesn't really mean anything for our survival at all, does it? But in terms of just assessing Parker, he does look up for these kind of games tactically in terms of how he sets the team up, doesn't he?
Absolutely. Like I say, the whole point of being at this level is to test him and test ourselves against the best in English, well, in some instances, European and world football. So you've got to. It is harder than ever. There was always a sniff of a chance back in the day that you thought, like I say, we can make it ugly, we can make it uncomfortable, and we can try and nick something. But we play more football than we have done previously. But we're capable of trying to batten down the hatches and shut up shop, etc., and make life difficult. But it's just actually the sort of percentage gains that these that these elite clubs have made over probably the last 5-10 years or so have just made it so difficult to compete. And yeah, you're just doing your damnedest to stay in games.
Woody, did anyone catch your eye at all? Is there anyone worthy of a rapid reaction mensch?
I think it was Tuanzebe's best game for us. And I think he's improved week on week, and he's looking quite an accomplished little player quietly away. So, yeah, him.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, actually. He did catch my eye quite a few times in that game. All right, well, we'll leave it there then for this rapid reaction. Tough one to take. The tough games to deal with, but it's over and done with, and on to West Ham next. The boys will be with you tomorrow for a full debrief of that one and some more in-depth analysis. But until then, up the Clarets.